well. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy to talk to you. I know we chatted very, very briefly, but I did that on purpose because I didn't want to find out all the little nuggets of nowness that you're doing right now. So you are teaching, but let me go back. Joy has so many credits on her belt. She came to LA like a shooting star, I would have to say. So
Thank you.
I first met you. I don't even know if it was at the audition for dancing or if it was because I knew Jason Williams and you were friends with him as well. And
Yeah.
season 2 of So You Think You Can Dance and all of that. So, but either way, we were friends.
Yes, absolutely.
and you have had so much dance going on in your particular career, but you've also gone through a lot physically. Because I remember you had kind of like a knee thing go
Yeah.
on.
When after I did So You Think, actually, it was funny. I was talking to my mom about it. The day after the So You Think You Can Dance season 2 finale,
Mm-hmm.
I got called for an audition with Brian Friedman. It was my first job. And then I went home because I told my mom I'd go to a semester of school. And Jen, my agent, called me and was like, Brian has another audition for Sandra Colton. And I was like, I remember sitting at the top of my mom's stairs in the house I grew up in. I was like, Mom, I'm moving to LA. Packed my stuff, moved out there, drove out there across country, moved in with Heather and Tyne. And
Mm-hmm.
me and Heather both booked that job with you. And then after time there, I did go back to school in between my time in LA and I tore my ACL. So
Mm-hmm.
it was, thank goodness I was in school during that and not in LA.
Yeah, yeah. But you recovered and you are doing so many good things in Nashville right now. And when did you move back from LA to Nashville?
It was 2014.
Okay. So in Nashville, because a lot of people are like, it's Music City, what's going on there for dance. So maybe you can kind of just illuminate for some people, because a lot of people think you have to come to LA or New York to kind of get your groove on, if you will. But
Yeah.
there's tons happening there for dance, and you are kind of in the hub of it.
Yeah. So I kind of knew even when I moved back to LA after I graduated from college, Nashville, the TV show that was on ABC and then it went to CMT the last season.
Mm-hmm.
It started in 2012 and I'd gone back for a friend's wedding and to teach at a studio. And I filmed, I think it was the second episode of season 1. And I was like, Nashville's about to pop off. Like, I need to go back to LA, tour, do all of that, but I want to
Mm-hmm.
eventually land back here. And so I went back to LA. I think I actually changed my flight early because Nick and RJ had an audition. So I went back for that and I did all the award shows, toured and stuff. And then I was like, all right, it's time to go to Nashville. And I immediately was working as a dancer and I knew I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
choreograph. And I was like, this is a city that everyone's so real. It's just going to take meeting people and have
Mm-hmm.
those opportunities come up. And honestly, like I got called to choreograph the last season of Nashville TV show. And then Millennium in Nashville opened. Tamara
Mm-hmm.
Williams opened it up. And it really just was like a floodgate of like everyone sees the M on the wall and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, dance studio. People start coming and it's
Yeah.
really brought me a lot of artists and then just word of mouth and people are really into dance right now, which I'm so grateful for.
Exactly. Well, so when you're teaching, because I assume that they have some in studio stuff right now, even though we're in the middle of pandemic. Are you doing hybrid classes as well, or how are you teaching? Is it just online, in studio, or hybrid?
So when the pandemic started, I kind of tried to start an online thing. And then actually I re-signed some of my agents started their own agency and independent artist entertainment. And they got me connected with it's a platform called School You.
I saw this on on your bio on your
Yeah.
Instagram page. Yeah.
And it's sports, music, dance, acting, and like the dancers, it's like me, Mikey Menden, J.R. Taylor actually made a list, Phil Wright, Ashley Everett, like
Mm-hmm.
several people, and it's really cool because you can get performance critique, individual dance lessons, like master class, industry advice, And so instead of doing my own thing, I was like, I think I'm just going to try to gear towards that. And then Millennium offered all of our faculty the opportunity to do Zoom classes, which I really felt my age of almost 33 years old trying to figure that out. One of my assistants, Rachel, had been doing it with her studio, so she helped me. And then one of my assistants was stuck in Florida because she was supposed to start a cruise line, and that obviously got shut down. And even on Zoom, she's like assisting me. It was just so different. But we opened back up like over a month ago, and then we shut back down, and we actually reopened yesterday. So I have my classes tonight, which is
so
so
exciting.
nice. Yes, it's going to be interesting dancing in a mask, but
I've been running in a mask, and so it's possible. I mean, I think that it's just more of a matter of, you know, you can't have as much contact as you probably would normally, you know, but when you're in a heels class, you know, I don't want to see somebody else's foot by my face.
Exactly. I'm like, if anything, it's better. I'm like, you have to stay 6 feet apart, no hugs.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Well, so what do you see as kind of like, you said you were feeling your age with the Zoom class. What do you think is like been your biggest challenge in this kind of period of time where we're kind of like, what are we doing?
So I'm such a people person that I love that human interaction.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the time our director was like telling us, she like did a walkthrough with each of us before we started. And luckily, once we were like almost out of like the phases, we were able to go use the studio because it'd only be, you know, one person, which I was grateful for, to not do it in here and kick my foot on the table or something. But I think like having the boxes on the screen, and then if you have a big class, you have to like swipe to see them. And I personally kept everyone's audio on because I wanted at least some interaction. But I was like watching all your interviews with Marguerite and Nancy and Melody was talking about the delay. The first night I was like down there, I'm like, why are they off from the music? I was like, y'all know how to count? And my assistant Rachel's like, Joy, it's Zoom. There's a delay. It's the internet. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and not everybody has high-speed internet. You know, people have whatever connection they've got, right? So, I mean, I have whatever the highest is that Spectrum offers, right? But, you know, other people have different connections across the world. And so some are faster, some are slower. And that's the one thing I'm kind of like, if anything comes out of this, I hope we get better internet. You know, just like.
I had the internet people come out the other day because I've been paying for the highest speed since I lived here in this house for 5 years, and it's so slow. But yeah, and I think even through the online classes, I told my assistants, I was like, well, if anything, I'm going to get better with counting because being online, like, it's so different than in person. Like, you really have to, like, I'm like, it's on the 2. They're like, you don't count. I'm like, I'm having to now. So at least we'll come out better teachers.
Exactly. Well, that is definitely one of the things. Well, so what kind of artists, I know that you said you were doing, in our previous conversation, you were working with artists as far as like movement development and things like that. Like, who's been the most fun to work with for you now that you've been out there?
Oh, man. Honestly, all of these country artists, one of them that I worked with actually, well, really all of them have become my good friends. One of my now like sister best friends, Lacey Cavalier, she is just so fun, and she comes to class. She will get on her story and promote my class all the time. It's so sweet. And then Daniel Bradbury and Kelsey Ballerini, and I'd have to say I don't have a favorite, but like most fun, John Party. He came to my birthday class last year, and we danced to Pony by Genuine, and he went all in. And I don't know, it's just cool because all the artists here, they're down for anything, and artists support artists is really big in Nashville, I feel like. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I hope that people come and take your class in Nashville who have not been to Nashville, because, you know, so many people think that you have to, you know, be in LA. And right now, you know, LA is kind of on lockdown. So,
well, and that's the thing. We've had so many artists, Nika, Phil Wright, you know, so many people come in. And most of them are all my friends. Brian came in not too, like, well, I say not too long ago, but 2020's kind of flown by, like last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will text Tam, our owner, and be like, can I come to Nashville? Because like I've been on set now twice in the past month since we've kind of started to open back up.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes to show too, like that you can make things happen on set with less people, which is sad in one way because people lose their jobs, obviously, but
Right.
it's also like there's a way to do it. And that's kind of through all of this. I'm really interested in directing and creative directing. And so as soon as it started and everything was canceled, I was like, well, I'm just going to make concept videos. I'm going to jump on this and take the time to do anything I can. And one of the interviews I was watching that you did, it's like, use the time we don't have usually and do it now.
Exactly. Well, I've seen some of your videos, and a lot of them start with the name of whatever the song is, and it very much is high production. So I don't know what you're doing out there, but it's very highly produced.
My dear friend, and he does all of our videography, Sayo, and then I also have Sophia, that she's done a lot in the past too. We have some really talented videographers here, and they've really trained. And when I first started Millennium, Michael Sadi did it, and it's cool. And now with Sayo, like I'll even, if he'll come in and take my class before he films. I'm like, all right, let me film you. So now I'm trying to learn to film. I'm not quite there yet, but
well, we're taking the time to learn new skills, right?
Exactly.
Well, so who's somebody that you would have liked to work with? I like to ask people this to like put it in the ether, like, you know, who is it that's on your radar? I know this is a hard one.
I even like really sat down and took notes so I could answer all these questions. Well, okay, so
and it doesn't have to be someone who lives in Nashville. It could be outside.
So I've danced with Thomas Rhett a ton, and I know his team very well. And AJ that works with Marty Kudelka, actually, she choreographed the CMT Awards, and she works with Thomas a lot. I'd really, really love to work with him on the choreography side, because all of these artists, one thing I really respect is that it's the same like morals that I grew up with, and just that respect level, and you feel comfortable working with male artists as a female, and they're just so kind and endearing. And so him and Little Big Town, who I've danced for as well, but I want to like work on the choreography and the creative side. And my biggest goal is to choreograph for an award show. That's the next. I've done TV, I've done a million music videos now, and I really want to do award shows. That's like, I really thought this year was the year, but you know, probably not.
I think a lot of people thought this year was the year, but if you know what happens, award shows lead to tours. So you're on that creative directive side. You know, you look at people like Nappy Tabs who have just like, I remember way back in the day, like, you know, or even like RJ and you know, like
Nick and RJ,
like, you know.
Well,
so
they actually they were doing CMAs. They had that account for a while, and they actually 2 years ago, I think, the CMA Country Christmas show that's produced by Robert Deaton, who's actually my dear friend's father-in-law, and he's amazing. They brought me on as like associate choreographer, so they sent me videos of them in their studio in their house doing the choreography. And you know, Nick and RJ, they're so precise. So I was like trying to rewatch it and mirror it and learn it. And like I helped with casting and stuff. So that was really cool. And it's cool because there's a lot of people from LA that come here. And I still get my like fill of like everyone that I love and miss.
Definitely. I've never been to Nashville, but when I do come, I will have to, because my husband's from France. So he's like, we need to tour the US. And I'm like, I don't have time.
You're like, I'm busy. No, we have to get you to Nashville. We can get you a class at Millennium. All the things.
know. His thing is, if he goes to a place like, you know, Tennessee or even Texas, he wants a hat. He wants the full like
I've got plenty
gear.
of hats.
But he wants it like special, you know, he wants to
Yeah.
make it molded to his head and like, you know, I was like, I don't know about chaps, but we'll get you the hat.
That's
You know,
amazing.
it's his idea, right, of what, you know, Americana. So we'll give it to
Absolutely.
him.
Absolutely. I love it.
Well, I love you. I see you very seldom, but this is so good that we got a chance to reconnect. And I know that a lot of what you're doing, people will love to see online. If they go in person, you're just as authentic online as you are in person. So I want people to know
Thank
you're getting
you.
the same good peach. You just because that's how I think you're my peach. Because I know that we had for when you were dancing, doing stuff for me, I had four blondes back in, you know, doing Brian Freeman choreography, which I'm just like, if you can keep up like with that,
And you're
boom.
probably the only person that I worked for in LA that, other than that one Britney Spears video,
Yeah.
that has ever had four blondes behind them. Like now in Nashville, they're like, "We love blondes." I'm like, "Well, that's great because that's me." Um, but
But
yeah,
the one thing I was going to ask you about is I see your pictures and you look like you've been doing some modeling. So is that like your
uh,
side gig or?
no, not really. I just have friends that are really good photographers, and I'm like, let me break up my Instagram because I just post videos every day. Like, let me break it up with like, oh, here's a photo, and then oh, here's another dance video.
Yeah, no worries. Well, you're beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing, and I will put your tags on the video clip so that people know where to find you.
Awesome. Yeah, and also I just one of my friends that's been doing a lot of online stuff, Libby Show. She
Mhm.
just is releasing an episode I did and talking about a lot of industry stuff too. So everyone
How did they
go
find her?
watch that. Well, so she lives in Nashville and she interviews a ton of people. I met her through my friend LJ, who's an amazing artist here in Nashville, and she's just so vibrant and so talented. And it's I think her Instagram is the Libby Show, and it'll be on YouTube, IGTV, and Facebook. I'm pretty sure is what she said, but it's really fun, and we even got her dancing and taught her a TikTok thing because I've had to learn TikTok during
I had to
quarantine.
learn TikTok too. I have
That's
fun on TikTok, but I don't know if anybody is laughing at me or with me. So
I mean, my students are like, Joy, you have this many followers on Instagram, but you only have 300 and something on TikTok. I'm like, because I don't know how to use it.
it's it's definitely you know, there's a learning curve there, but I just use it for fun, and that's all you can do. So
Well, yeah, I had to use it for an artist. Lee Bryce had me do a dance to one of his songs, and we had this whole contest thing.
oh
15, it is harder for me to choreograph 15 seconds than it is for me to choreograph a full piece. It's like 3 minutes
mm,
long.
yeah, yeah,
So
well, you got to
we're
fit it all
learning,
like that, right?
but we're learning to keep up with the youngins. So
We are not old.
no, I will refuse to ever say I'm old, even though I joke and say that all the time. But
Well, I look at it this way: TikTok might go away because I've been looking at some of the news, and it might go away. It's kind of like Vine. That's I look at TikTok as kind of like Vine. You
yeah,
know, what are you gonna
absolutely,
do? But I will keep in touch with you, and I will
absolutely.
hopefully see you online and in person soon.
Absolutely. It's so good to talk to you. Thank you for having me here. What you're doing is so
Yeah.
amazing. And I hope everyone's really listening because you're having such great people and people that honestly, like, I was reviewing everything and it's people that I always looked up to. So I was just honored that you asked me to come on here.
Well, I love what you're doing, and I think people need to know that it's not just in LA and New York. You know, you're hitting them hard in Nashville and bringing them in. So keep it up, and I will keep following you too. So have a good one.
Absolutely. You too. Bye, girl.